On this episode of Cronkite Sports Report,
we go behind the scenes of baseball's ultimate behind-the-scenes job.
Phil Mickelson chips in for a new golf home at his alma mater.
A local coach works to elevate top high school quarterbacks to the next level.
Arizona State goes off the field to invest in the mental health of its athletes.
And Kelsey Campbell wrestles the odds all the way to the Olympics.
Welcome into Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Bobby Kraus.
And I'm Taylor Rocha. As student journalists at ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, we look to bring you unique sports stories with an Arizona connection.
Tonight, we're starting things off on the diamond, or actually, behind the diamond.
It's not a glamorous job, but hey, these guys are living out their big league dreams. Clubhouse Assistants are baseball's unsung heroes as they work around the clock to keep the players focused on one thing: playing baseball.
Here bright and early, got to beat the players here.
Meet Tony Gennario, one of baseball's ultimate behind-the-scenes guys. It's 7 a.m. and he's already prepping for today's Scottsdale Scorpions game in the Arizona Fall League.
About to set up for batting practice. I gotta grab all of the batting practice baseballs. Once I got these in there, grab all the on-deck stuff and their pine tar, rosin, weighted bat, their donuts.
For Gennario, it's just another day at the office where he and his boss, Chad Chiffin, do a little bit of everything.
We're somewhere between concierge and parent when it comes to the players. So we spend more time with them than their families do. We're there to do anything they need done to make their playing life a lot easier. So they don't have to worry about all the little things that we all have to worry about normally. We're there to make sure all of that's taken care of.
It's a job that's filled with a lot of dirt, especially the players' cleats after an hour of batting practice.
Kind of bang them like this, and then we'll take these super sharp shoe brushes and just scrape everything off. Eventually we'll spray it with a cleaner and wipe it. It's definitely one of the worst parts of the job.
What's next? There's a laundry list.
Put the hangers in their locker. And then we'll wash a lot of their batting practice stuff. All the clothes they wore, the batting practice jerseys and pants and stuff, we'll hang those up. Other than that, it's pretty much just waiting for the game to end. And then our work really picks up. Laundry, we got shoes, breaking down the kitchen, vacuuming, clean up the bathrooms, stuff like that.
In another key part of the job, Gennario rubs up baseballs, preparing them for first pitch.
I'll put a little mud on the gloves, spit on it a little bit, it's kind of gross. Grab a baseball, try to get it all the same color, all even, not too dark but not too light, but enough of a grip on them so the pitcher has a grip on the ball. Sorry, I might as well just rub these up. Pitching coach will be happy with me.
Gennario had always hoped for a career in sports. Originally, he had plans to work in sports media, but that changed after he started his first professional season as a bat boy in the Fall League. Like many of baseball's young stars, the AFL jolted Gennario to the show.
I love baseball. I love sports in general. I love being around it. I love talking about it. I love hearing about it. And for me, I get to see it on a level that I never thought I'd be able to and that most people won't.
After a 5-year career as a D-backs bat boy, his last game with the team had a storybook ending. The day started with then D-backs manager Chip Hale calling Gennario up to speak in front of the team.
Oh my God, I'm speaking in front of a tight team meeting. Like 12-year-old Tony would be freaking out right now.
Working the game was emotional.
We actually won on a walk-off, so that was really cool. And then after the game, one of the players, Chris Owings, dumped the Gatorade bucket on me. The whole day was just awesome.
He went on to run the visitors clubhouse for the Tampa Bay Rays AA team, the Montgomery Biscuits, for 1 season until he was hired back with the D-backs as a clubhouse assistant.
The clubhouse assistants that are above me have been there for so long. I think they've all been in baseball since before I was born. Watching them, I've kind of understood this is the professional level. There is a professional standard.
Part of being a professional in sports is dealing with the grind. But according to Gennario, winning is the cure.
What the team does on the field does affect us. Like it is exciting whether they win or lose watching the game and going to the park every day.
Watching the guys come up as rookies or meeting them when they're here in the Arizona Fall League, or we've just drafted them, to seeing them get married, have kids, eventually retire, become coaches. Watching that whole cycle go on is pretty cool, pretty gratifying to, you help them out getting to that journey.
Each slide will leave white pants brown. Each mound will leave cleats congested with clay. Each clubhouse has teammates, like Tony Gennario, out of uniform to make sure that it's all taken care of. In Scottsdale, Taylor Rocha, Cronkite Sports Report. Baseball has always meant more to the Gennario family. Tony and his father, Frank, completed a decade-long journey to see the D-backs play in every major league stadium. The most surreal part for Frank, seeing his son in the dugout during every D-backs home game. Shiny new multi-million-dollar facilities are all the rave in the modern era of college athletics.
Football, basketball, and yes, even golf programs are using improved facilities as a way to build their programs. Our reporter Drake Dunaway has the story on the Bird.
With mountains and the Phoenix skyline in the distance, sits the new state-of-the-art $9.35 million Arizona State golf facility.
I wish I had had a facility like this to help me early in my career build that foundation that it's taken me decades to do. I could have done it had I had this.
Phil Mickelson, an Arizona State alum and 5-time major champion, co-designed the 12-acre facility that contains an air-conditioned golf lab, a 4-acre short game area, and a driving range with special targets. Like all college athletic facilities, it's likely to impact recruiting.
When they see the detail out here, I mean, the sun is nice, the view's nice, all these amenities are nice, but the fact that they will become much better is the greatest motivation, and that's going to drive recruits to come here.
It's not a random facility where you're randomly hitting chips or hitting balls. There's a purpose to every little knoll and roll and nuance to this facility.
The new ASU home, which is being called the Thunderbirds Golf Complex, is part of a 30-year deal between the city of Phoenix and ASU to use Papago as its home course after they left Karsten and Tempe this fall.
Many ASU players got their start here, including Billy Mayfair, including Heather and Missy Farr. So it's been a real stable golf course for ASU and for their athletes.
The practice area itself contains everything a collegiate golfer could possibly need to hone their skills.
As far as developing champion golfers, not only is this the best collegiate facility for that, but probably the best short game facility in the entire world.
It's unreal. It's unreal. For a golf junkie like me, this is like a utopia.
A utopia? Some might say so. The Thunderbird Golf Complex, which they are calling the Bird, is solely used by the 17 current ASU golfers and the program's alums. The facility comes at a time when other top programs like Oklahoma and Florida State are making improvements. So the question is, where does it rank?
It's the best practice facility in the country. All the details that everyone came together and put together, all Phil Mickelson's work. If we're not getting better, something's wrong.
Yeah, there's bigger out there. Some are fancier, some may be on campus, but there's none that are as detailed and as thought through for player development and efficiency as this one.
Part of what makes the Bird unique is its many different types of practice areas.
The use of artificial turf and the use of the different percentages with putting and then our golf lab, and then to transition into a building that is just absolutely has everything our student athletes could possibly want.
The multi-million-dollar project was designed specifically with high-level golfers in mind. Those can certainly be found at ASU, whose women's program has won a nation's best 8 championships, including most recently in 2017, and whose men's alums led the PGA Tour in money earned this past season.
What we've solely focused on is what is going to improve the collegiate golfer for the women's and men's golf team, to compete for national championships. And we felt that we had to put effort into every square foot of area to make sure we did that.
Over the 25 years of playing the tour, I learned certain ways to build a foundation for my wedge play, to work on certain things in bunker play, chips around the green, and as well as golf swing. And so this facility here incorporates all of that knowledge and kind of spoon feeds it for everybody here at ASU.
Spoon-fed short game knowledge from Phil?
The numbers are going to change. You're not going to hit it as far.
Seems like a good idea. In Phoenix, Drake Dunaway, Cronkite Sports Report.
Next up on Cronkite Sports Report,
the training academy here in the Valley that's teaching young football players valuable skills on and off the field. Welcome back to Cronkite Sports Report. There's an academy here in the Valley helping quarterbacks improve their games.
As our Austin Burnett explains, it's also teaching lessons that stretch far beyond the gridiron.
Right. Hey, here we go. Step up. Boom. 27-year coaching veteran and director of Elevate QB Academy, Mike Giovando, aims to instill the basic fundamentals and leadership qualities in young quarterbacks of all ages, learning how to play the position.
We want to learn how to throw the football properly. That's one of the main things to be a very good, thrower of the football. If you can control the ball and have command of the football, know where it's going to go when it comes out of your hand, know the things that make it, do what you want it to do biomechanically with your, from your lower body up through your upper body. That's what we want to, give these kids the tools to be a good thrower.
Giovando coaches quarterbacks from all over the valley, and some of his proteges are committed to Division I schools, including Spencer Rattler, who's headed to Oklahoma, and Spencer Brash, who's committed to play for Cal Berkeley.
I've been out here for about a year now, so I've felt myself improving tremendously, and just being out here with all the other great quarterbacks that we have that are out here just helps me boost my confidence in that way, just knowing that I can compete with some of the best in the state and some of the best in the country that come here.
Now Giovando, he teaches these kids different agility drills and also put their whole bodies into their throws. And he's also coached quarterbacks that have gone on to play in the NFL, including Tim Tebow, Colin Kaepernick, and Tyrod Taylor. Elevate also brings in former college quarterbacks, such as former Notre Dame and Florida quarterback Malik Zaire, to teach the younger athletes how to master the fundamentals and what it takes to compete at the college level. Zaire mentors these young signal callers to mold not only their physical attributes, but also their mentality.
They understand that this is a student, this is a process, this is not an overnight thing, and once you learn that, you can be a master of your craft and take it to the next level. I mean, that's the difference between those good and great guys, is those details, that consistency, and that they students of the game. It's an everyday thing.
He's teaching us all kinds of stuff, everything from defensive coverages, where you need to put the ball in different coverages, from footwork in the pocket to getting out of the pocket.
It doesn't matter what somebody says or what somebody thinks of you, or good, bad, negative. You roll with it, and you just keep working at it. And things are not always going to be the way you want them to be. And how are you going to respond to that? And what kind of attitude are you going to have? And how what can that do to make you a better person, on and off the football field? Malik's a perfect example of that.
Although the primary purpose of Elevate QB Academy is to provide training and coaching, it also aims to instill life lessons that go beyond the gridiron.
Even in the classroom, it can help you, because if you act like you're in 7th grade in the classroom, then you might not do as well as you think. Like right now, I take the 8th grade math class, which is the higher until the high school math. And then, he just helps you with that mindset, and he talks to you like you're older. You gotta be able to be mature and take that in.
Just how to be a good person, be somebody that people look up to, be somebody that cares, be somebody that's a good brother, a good son, a good friend, a good teammate. Those are the qualities that we want to try to instill.
From basic mechanics to fundamentals to leadership qualities, Giovando coaches and mentors these young athletes to prepare them to be the college quarterbacks of tomorrow. In Scottsdale, Austin Burnett.
Left, step up in there.
Cronkite Sports Report.
Good.
Coming up next on Cronkite Sports Report.
How ASU Athletics is approaching mental health with its student athletes. The January suicide death of Washington State quarterback Tyler Hilinski shined a light on the challenges collegiate athletes sometimes face in silence.
Reporter Ashley Mackey looks at what Arizona State is doing to help its student athletes bring the conversation around mental health out into the open.
Sun Devils are relentless.
Arizona State University released a video earlier this year to raise awareness about mental health.
Physically, intellectually, emotionally. Especially emotionally, being student athletes stresses all of us one way or another.
Being a college student comes with pressures of its own.
We can ask for help though, with coaches, trainers, doctors, and counselors.
But for student athletes who must add a grueling practice schedule, a time-consuming travel itinerary, and a desire to compete at a high level consistently, the pressure could be unimaginable. ASU soccer player Christina Edwards says she struggled with mental health issues in the past and believes conversation is key.
Christina Edwards.
I think that I can heal and a lot of other people can heal through talking about it. And even though sometimes it's maybe hard for me and it's hard for others to talk about it, there's that common ground we can reach and said, hey, I've actually kind of been through similar things.
ASU is one of many Pac-12 schools highlighting this topic. The Pac-12 gave nearly $4 million to the University of Colorado Boulder for research on student-athlete wellness. And Oregon State launched the Damn Worth It campaign with the goal to eliminate the stigma surrounding mental health.
Unfortunately, over the past couple years, there have been a couple instances in suicide within the Pac-12, one at Oregon State and one at Washington State. It's such a tragedy, but with that, thankfully, it's kind of caused a movement within our conference.
Sun Devil gymnast Heather Udowich, a co-president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee at ASU, recently voted on and witnessed the passing of new legislation that would require all Pac-12 schools to have mental health services for student athletes.
Under those requirements, we will have sports psychologists come in and help us, and then we are hoping to propose that on a national level to the NCAA, so hopefully all schools will also enforce this legislation.
ASU offers athletes counseling services, including a full-time sports psychologist on staff, but Arizona State Associate Athletic Director Dina Garner-Smith says coaches are the first line of defense.
This one. You spend an inordinate amount of time with your teammates, but also with your coach. And even more so with your coach, because your coach recruited you. And it's really pivotal that the coach is clear in helping to normalize the understanding and awareness around counseling services.
Man, my coaches have been great. I'm just so thankful for them. You know, if they see that I'm kind of struggling, they'll look at me and say, Heather, are you okay? And of course, I'm an athlete, I'm competitive, so I'm gonna say, yes, I'm fine. And they'll just kind of back me up and say, hey, you got this. And you know, just hearing that little bit of encouragement and knowing that they believe in me, that means a lot to me.
Through team camaraderie and support from the coaches and administration, ASU athletes will continue to work to normalize a tough discussion.
Just kind of want to send the message that anything that's going on with you, it's okay, it happens to other people, it's okay to talk about it, you're not alone in your struggle, there's other people experiencing it, and there's people here to help you.
In Tempe, Ashley Mackey, Cronkite Sports Report.
In 2013, the NCAA established the Mental Health Task Force, a group of scientists, policy experts, and team physicians to come up with the best practices for student athletes.
Still to come on Cronkite Sports Report.
The woman who blazed the trail for the ASU women's wrestling program. Kelsey Campbell was the first woman to ever wrestle at Arizona State.
Ethan Gaines shares the story of this trailblazer's efforts to make her second Olympic Games.
Kelsey Campbell's wrestling career all started with a dare in high school.
Some guys on the team were just like, you couldn't handle wrestling, and of course, I think that says a lot about the type of person I was, because I literally didn't have a desire to wrestle. I just wanted to prove them wrong.
The dare was only supposed to last 2 weeks, but 15 years later, Campbell is now an Olympian and two-time U.S. Olympic team trials champion. She is currently training in hopes of qualifying for the 2020 Summer Games in Tokyo. While at 33, Campbell is a bit older than many of her fellow competitors, her coach Lee Pritz, also an assistant wrestling coach at Arizona State, said that he thinks she still has what it takes to pursue an Olympic medal.
She's fighting against the clock. In our sport, speed's important, you know, and as you gain in years, you lose speed. Fortunately for her, speed was never her forte. Technically, she's very good, so she does everything right. She can go win the thing. I've seen her do it before.
Campbell ended up finishing second in the state of Oregon after just 1 year on the high school mat. But she wasn't sure she would continue wrestling, so she moved to Arizona to start a new Christian ministry and attend Arizona State. But it wasn't long before somebody noticed her wrestling ability.
I was just like randomly training. I had like a gym membership, and I would like show up to high school practices. I was a part of like an MMA club at ASU. There was a guy there, Tracy Greif, and he saw me and he's like, you have a lot of potential, you should try out for ASU. I figured, what do I have to lose?
She made the team. But as an inexperienced wrestler and the first woman to ever wrestle at ASU, Campbell faced many challenges both on and off the mat.
It was super hard. I got beat up every day by Division I men, and I barely even knew how to wrestle. It's one thing to support somebody, and it's another thing to support them, and then they come into your room, and they're on your team, and now you're training with them.
Without many other female collegiate wrestlers to look up to, Campbell was forced to blaze her own trail.
There was 11 other women in history that had been on a D1 team, and not all of them had had great experiences. So I really had to create my own destiny. When you're the first to do anything, it comes with a huge responsibility. It was pretty lonely at times.
It's become more common to see women wrestling at ASU since Campbell's collegiate days, and she is now a role model for the female wrestlers who came to Tempe after her, including freshman Marley Smith.
I look up to her, like being the first women's wrestler here, and she tells me like all the stuff she's been through. Like I have it a lot easier than what she had it. The coach's focus was on the guys, not Kelsey, but now we have really helpful coaches here that look at us and help us.
After wrestling for over 15 years, it can become difficult to find inspiration, but Campbell said that she tries to focus on enjoying her journey to stay motivated.
In anything, you have to be careful that you stay in love with what you're doing, and goals can jade you a little bit. You have to love the process, you have to love the drills, you have to love the weight cutting, you have to love the grind, you have to love your coaches, you have to love the people that beat you because they make you better. So if it's just about the medal, it's too hard.
With the U.S. Open trials coming up in the spring, Campbell could have one more chance to make it back to the Olympics.
This is my last run, and my goal is to win the Olympics. I don't know how to have any other type of goal. I'm just crazy enough to think that I can win it all.
Campbell is currently ranked 3rd in the U.S. 59-kilogram division. In Tempe, Ethan Gaines, Cronkite Sports Report.
That's it for this episode of Cronkite Sports Report.
Thank you so much for tuning in.